here. Just what has he had to do?
He's had an outstanding camp so far. I held him out today just because of an injury, but he had put a product on tape for like 10 practices that was a high level. The guy's a great football player. He's got unbelievable feel. I'm not sure there's a job he can't do. You know, he stops the run and see gaps. Sometimes we bump him down and then we drop him, and he's great. And he's a hard charger, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think being a former walk-on, you know, at the previous institution, he's got a chip on his shoulder. So he's been the most productive guy in camp out of my room. It's been impressive.
Any concern with the injury at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. And really, probably more than anything, his position coach is just protecting him more than anything. Like, he probably could have taken some reps today, but he's put enough on tape that I want to make sure that he's a player that's a little bit older, played a lot of ball and put a product on tape, so I'm not concerned with it.
When you look at your room and you got some long physical athletes,
Yep.
and Sebastian Cheeks may not fit that mold of a lot of the guys you brought in.
Yeah.
What is it about him that just makes him able to continue to produce it?
Yeah, I think Sebastian's move from inside linebacker to edge has been really, really beneficial for him, and been beneficial obviously for us. He's got a really good get off. He puts a lot of pressure on tackles with his get off, on third down. But I think probably the biggest factor, he's really, really intelligent on first and second down. And so put him out there to the edge. He sets good edges. We drop him once in a while. We bring him under. We just do different things with him. And he's got a really good feel and is smart about backfield sets and things like that. So I'm happy for him. It's been a twisting path, a winding path, but he's found a home, not just in Wisconsin, but in a position I think suits him well. And like you said, we've got a lot of different body types in there. Maybe not the prototypical in terms of the length, but as good as you get in terms of some athleticism and get off.
At this point, how many people do you feel comfortable with? It's sort of a staple question
Yeah,
every year, but it's different every year too.
Well, I think the thing that's unique about my position group is we do have a lot of different body types. So when you start with workhorse, Daryl Peterson, and then you have Corey Walker, who's coming back off a little bit back and has practiced the last couple days and has shown some flashes, a little rusty. Got to get Mike Garner back. We have some big dudes, dudes that weigh 280 pounds, and then you got some guys that are really twitchy and can do some stuff with speed. You talk Sebastian, Tyrese, Nick Clayton has really flashed the last couple days in that, and so have a diversity of body types, a diversity of skill sets. So. We will match, our people versus their people, and even Aaron Witt has shown great leadership. He's just primarily playing our star position, but he knows a lot of the stuff and he's played a lot of ball. And so, I think the difference between last year and we've made a lot of improvements from year 1 to year 3. I think the biggest improvements have been just, the recruitment of different body types and talents to match some of the different things. Whether you're playing, you got to play Oregon, and that's a specific style of play, and you got to play Iowa. I think we've got better equipped to handle some of those edges.
As far as Sebastian goes, a year ago when you guys decided to make that switch,
yeah.
What were you seeing that made you say, hey, he might be a good fit for that outside?
Just the pass rush ability. That started with that, just the get off and the pass rush ability. And, I do think life is a little easier on the edge as opposed to inside backer because your field of vision is like this instead of your field of vision being like that. So I think being an edge defender, your field of vision is basically cut in half. I think it allows you to play faster because there's not as many things coming at you sometimes like the inside linebacker.
Matt, we heard this from AJ too, but having so many options kind of gives you the freedom of keeping guys fresh.
It does. I hope to use that, and it's been beneficial in camp because we've had some guys banged up here and there, and so we really haven't dropped off, with some guys having to come in. So the Big Ten schedule being what it is, we've got to be able to rotate, and I think I have a pretty unselfish crew that can be able to rotate. As you get into the end of October and November, you're going to need some fresh guys. And at times, last year, my first year, CJ Getz never came off the field, and it showed. And even last year, I had 3 for 2, pretty much, and that showed towards the end of the season, to be honest with you. So I think that depth up front is improved.
You mentioned the schedule and the things this year, and there's no denying how difficult it is, but how much of you as a staff or the group of the players talked about sort of what people think about this program given the challenges that they have?
Well, we've had some senior speeches at night, and I think those guys have done a really good job of just like, we want the hard path. We want to embrace it. We want to embrace the difficulty of the schedule, and they get irritated when people talk about the schedule. They get a little bit irritated about that. My job as the position coach is not really to talk ton about, month of October, all that stuff. My job is just to get ready to guys to play them, and understand the challenges of what lays ahead of us in the Big Ten. And so I don't really, get into that a ton to use motivation, but I think the team has a chip on their shoulder. I think the team, felt like a little bit, Big Ten Media Days and things like that. I think there's a chip on their shoulder a little bit as they head into this thing. And I think, what helps is, I do want to say this, like our defensive depth, we have a pretty confident group, and our offense, is really preparing our defense. And, whatever happens with offensively in the season, that's not my job. I stay in my lane. But I tell you this, the stuff that Coach Grimes, those assistants are running is giving us a lot of stuff that we're going to see in that schedule. It's giving us a lot of things that we're going to see in that schedule. And so I do feel pretty prepared coming out of camp. We've seen a variety of schemes, a huge variety of schemes, and seen a lot of different things run and pass that hopefully prepares for those big moments.
You're mentioning Nick Clayton, so showing some flashes.
Yeah.
Kind of as a young guy like him, what do you kind of see as the next step for him?
Yeah, I mean, I really trust him on third down. You know what I mean? Really trust him third down. Now, I do have some better pass rush, I believe. We'll see if it shows up on tape. Better pass rush when you talk about Cheeks, when you talk about Fearby, Mason Reiger. Those are good pass rushers. Tyrese is, he's still learning to fit within the scheme of our defense, but when he goes to one-on-ones and pass rush, he's really good. So I think the biggest thing with Nick is that, talking about bodies, maybe if Nick's fresh on third down and a couple of those guys are gassed, maybe we have some opportunities. And then I'm really pressing him on special teams as a true freshman to try to get a kickoff return, punt block, get on all these different schemes so he can get that experience and help us. And so when those moments come in the Big Ten, it's it's not too big.
Where have you seen Fearby maybe grow the most from what you saw in spring to now?
Yeah.
'Cause the flash is maybe happening more often now.
It is happening more often. I think the biggest thing, Tyrese plays hard, plays good effort. He's got edge. He's got a tremendous amount of edge. Like, he wants to inflict a little bit of hurt on some people. We need that in our room. Can't be a bunch of nice guys. But I think the thing that's improved is just the pre-snap discipline, the pre-snap techniques. I mean, I know he can go, but sometimes he was frenetic and going, but wasn't within the scheme of being 1/11th of our defense. I think Tyrese is now more engaged. Okay, so what I got to do is my assignment and buying in to be 1/11th of the defense. Still bring that edge, still bring that get off, still bring that violence, still bring all those attributes, but make sure it's in the framework of the other 10 guys.
You got that competition going on at kicker right now.
We do. Yep.
We see the makes and misses when you're
Yep,
out here
yeah,
doing field
yeah,
goals.
we
but
tried it all.
What are some of the things that you're maybe judging that we don't get to see or that
Sure,
is a
sure.
factor as well?
Yeah, I think we have a tremendous amount of trust in both guys and field goals and extra points. I think the thing we're trying to take a look at is the kickoff thing too. Obviously, Lam last year did a great job. We had 13 returnable kicks in a 12-game schedule. But Vacos has really improved over the summer in terms of his hang time and distance on the kicks, and so it's a heck of a competition. Do we use two, or do we go with the specialty route like we did last? Use two in the specialty route, or do we have one guy that kind of handles those duties and potentially, see what options are moving forward for a program? We got to win at 25, but what does 26 look like too? So we got to sort that out. I would say at punter, we also have competition. Sean West, the freshman, has done a really good job. He's done a really good job. He's putting heat on Atticus, So we do feel fortunate. We got 3 specialists on our watch list. Nick Levy, the transfers come in for Purdue, has done a phenomenal job. That is an upgrade in terms of the blocking and the protection things. Feel really good about him. And then Goodman, who we brought in for Tulane, has done a really good job too. So I think the thing this year that we have depth at specialists. So you always cross your fingers a little bit with specialists in terms of injuries, but I feel like we're better equipped to handle that from the specialist position.
Punt return was a question.
It was.
How are you feeling about that, and Tyrell?
Yeah, we're making progress there. I think the 3 guys that we're repping back there would be Tyrell, Vinny Anthony, and Jaden Ballard. And we're looking for guys that got great communication, get the thing vertical. It's definitely something that we need to continue to work on camp. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. And then you also have to factor in, if we do use Vinny, Vinny was really good for us, on kickoff return last year. We were top 20 in the nation in kickoff return last year, and Vinny was a part of that. But you also be worried about, same guy doing returner, and he's obviously going to play on offense. So we're still working through the kick returner spot too. Probably kick returner will be a little bit more dependent. Those are easier to catch based on what happens to the punt returner situation.
Yeah, I don't know. Numbers can be deceiving, but if you look at TFLs and sacks,
Yeah.
and those were down, not where you wanted them to
No,
be. Right?
it was bad.
Do you
It
feel
was
like
really
from
bad.
a personnel standpoint, maybe even a mindset standpoint, feel better equipped this year?
I do feel better equipped. You're right. I mean, we're dead last in tackle for lost. We own that. I own that. Our defensive staff owns that. We were not where we needed to be on that. So I think it's a combination of factors to try to improve that, and we're on the path doing that. One, talent. Talent is a factor, but talent alone is not a factor. Someone has to do with the scheme. The schemes are running. We've changed some of our defensive schemes, okay? And then the third thing is techniques and fundamentals, and I think we've made progress on all those. So again, I am an optimistic person, but I'm also a realist, okay? I'm a realist to how things going, but we have shown more disruptive plays with our defensive front. Between Coach Whitlow's interior guys and my guys on the edge, there has been more disruption. There has been more disruption than in fall camp, and we need that to carry over. We get into the Big Ten schedule and non-conference too. It's got to start the right way.
When you're talking to kickers about maybe adding kickoffs versus place kicking,
Yeah.
do they have to condition or train
It can
differently
be
in
tough.
summer?
It can be tough a little bit. You can get a lot of. You wouldn't think it, but doing X-point field goals and kickoffs, there's some load on that, so you have to be careful. I think the biggest thing is we got to be smart throughout the course of the week. We got to be smart throughout the course of the week. Having 2 guys is a benefit, but we're just still trying to figure out what gives us the best option.
How soon would you like that competition to be wrapped up?
I think we have another week of camp back at Camp Randall, and I think we got to do a really good job being, really have a decision probably made, what's today, Friday? Probably by next Sunday, try to figure out what path they're going, just to be fair to the kids.
And say with Holder, just how are you feeling there too?
The guys all love Atticus as the holder. They all absolutely love Atticus. So whether it's Lum or Vacos, they have a tremendous amount of there. And most college football programs, if you're punters or holder, it's a good thing because they can work on the side. You don't have to take a positional player to do that. But Atticus is a pretty good athlete, So God forbid something happens, I think we'd be able to manage the snap because he's a pretty good athlete.
Did I see Matt Young take one
Yep,
yesterday?
a little bit. Yeah, Matt Young's taking some. We're just trying to prepare. Trying to prepare that way. And again, not down on Sean's holding ability, but Matt's played a tremendous amount of football. Obviously, I'm a lower level guy. Coach D3, D2. I got a soft spot in my heart for lower level dudes. You know what I mean? Whether it's a Nizer for Queen or JVR Suggs, I love Matt Young. Okay, good football players are good football players. I don't care if they came from D3 Buffer. They're good football players. He's put that on tape. So we're just trying to have some options for a really talented football player that's done it in his past, and also as a coach's kid and understands that situation.
Obviously,
As far as the punt return goes,
Yeah.
were the issues just at return, or were there some other things?
It was a combination. It was a combination of the turnoffs. There was also a combination too of some of our hold-up guys on the edges. Out on the anti-gunners, the 2 guys gunning down. I don't know that we had as good a hold-up as we needed last year to try to keep people clean out of their face. So I think it's a combination of everything. But obviously I thought Hunter came in and did a great job, and obviously he's killing with the Colts right now. I read on Twitter. But we have to have guys' confidence that people are not in their face when it's an opportunity to try to catch balls. So it's on all of us. But at the same time, we can't ever put a ball on the ground. And unfortunately, here, just to be transparent, but a few times that's happened in camp, and it just can't happen. We got to make sure we get that fixed.
obviously, you have a long relationship with Nizer.
Yep.
How is he handling?
Nizer's handled it like a champion. I'm not really involved in the legal or the NCAA case at all. I've just been there as a support system because I've known the kid for 6 years. And I give him a tremendous amount of credit. He's going down on scout team right now and playing corner on scout team. That's the guy that started at Wisconsin. He's down there playing corner, and we're giving him some 2 reps. Planning on him not being here, but preparing him, and if something ends up happening, which is way out of my lane there, all I can do is just be a support system for him. I've had multiple conversations with him, and just if he needs anything, I'm there for him. Obviously, I love the kid, I'm hoping for the best. But I also say that he's got his head on straight. If something doesn't work out, he'll be okay. We'll keep him around this program, and he'll be a positive influence.